what's your creative process from start to finish? You know, I don't know how long that'll take you to tell me, but how do you work through creating such a beautiful piece of art?
Oh, well, thank you so much. You know, I have to credit my team with the process of the record. I had been hired to score a French film in 2016, I think, and 2015, 2016. And I went over, and the music supervisor on the film is a music producer named Raphael Hamburger. And he's the son of France Gall and Michel Berger, who are these two French pop music luminaries. Michel Berger was a producer and composer and arranger and worked with so many famous people. And France Gall is one of France's most beloved female pop singers. And so he grew up in the studios of France, and I got hired on this film. He was the music supervisor, and he also owns a beautiful studio in Saint-Germain in France, and it's amazing. And I went over there, and I met the engineer, Stan Neff, and Raphael, and the three of us, along with the director, we just worked for a month making this score for this film. And I lived there, and this was like a dream come true. I always wanted to travel the world and make music, and when those two things can combine, it's amazing. And towards the end of that process, I really loved working with them so much, and we all had the same idea that I should come back and we should just make some piano recordings just for their own sake. And I'd always thought about doing a record, and I didn't really know how, because I'm so used to being given a deadline and given a target, and like, here's your film, here's what you got to do, here's how many minutes, here's when we need it by, here's what it needs to feel like, etc. And that really has always helped me to finish things. So thinking about doing a record, I didn't really know where to begin, and so this seemed like a great way in. So I went there, and we discovered this beautiful piano, and we had a bunch of pianos all mic'd up, and kind of took over the studio for a number of weeks. And we talked a lot about how we wanted things to feel. I was very clear about how I wanted things to feel, and that's really all I went in with. I didn't go in with any compositions pre-written. It was all just, I know what I want this to feel like, and I knew that I wanted it to be a reliable record. You know, I like records that take you to a certain place and they sustain you in that place for the whole duration. It's not like, oh, here's our fast song, here's our slow song. They're just consistent with their vibe. Beck Sea Change is an album that I always think about that has that kind of quality, or Aphex Twin Selected Ambient Works Volume 2. These are records that when I want to feel the way that they make me feel, or I want to feel something in myself, I can put those records on and I'm taken there. Kind of Blue, you know, Miles Davis has that effect. So for me, it was just, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to scratch at that feeling, scratch at that vibe. And so we had microphones on these pianos, and I would just go out and improvise, sometimes for an hour, hour and a half at a time. And it would just be about me trying to connect with that feeling in myself and express that musically, or find it, hunt it out on the piano, which is very much what I did when I was growing up. So in a lot of ways, it was a return to how I formed my relationship with the piano and with music when I was young. And then I would come into the booth and we would listen back, and we would flag things that we thought were interesting and listen back. And then we would take those nuggets and say, oh, we really like this. This is a really good one. And then I would go back out and start building a structure. And the engineer, Stan, who was also a co-producer, would sometimes pitch together some, production ideas, and it was really a collaborative process for all of us to work on the structure and work on the sonic approach. And it was really beautiful. And we didn't get done in a few weeks by any means. So I think I went out 4 times, and each time I was there for 2 to 3 weeks. And that's just what we did. And then I'd be going out and performing, and we'd come in and listen and move structures around. And then I started filling the arrangements out, and we recorded. We did a session with 6 cellos. We did 2 choir sessions, one in a cathedral in Paris and another one in Brussels. We did, I think we had 6 brass players. And then we did a couple percussion sessions and an ondes martineau session. So we started to fill out the rest of the arrangements, and then over months, continued to work on the mixes. And so it was really great. And it was for my first record making experience, I loved having people and just not being alone. I'm sure that there's plenty of people that they're just locking themselves away and they don't have any help, and that's just how they do it. And maybe I'll do that someday. But this process was so great to be able to just talk about these things and listen to old records that we loved, and listen to recordings of pianos, and talk about what we liked about this recording and what we liked about that and what we didn't like. And just, through this team effort, try to arrive at a vibe and at a sound. And then it emerged. And then 3 years later it came out.